In 2006, there was an earthquake in Rajpipla. This is how Prince Manvendra Singh Gohil, son of the present Maharaj of Rajpipla, describes the reaction to his coming out in 2006. The revelation was indeed a shocking one to the traditional mores of Rajpipla and was met with anger by many, and even effigies of the prince. But his journey has been one centered on truth, and his work for the advancement of the LGBTQ rights in India has only expanded since then. His activism goes back to the 90s, a time when HIV/AIDS was a major issue. He was involved in helping gay men in Gujarat and spreading awareness on safe sex. Much of his work has continued through Manvendra's foundation of the Lakshya Trust, a community-based organization that dedicated to HIV/AIDS education and prevention. The trust provides counseling services, clinics for treatment of sexually transmitted infections, and resource centers. The trust also creates employment opportunities for gay men and support other organizations of MSM and plans to open an old age home for gay men. We look forward to finding out more about the work and evolution of a hugely important initiative undertaken by the Trust in this interview. What avenues have opened up for the education on the LGBTQ issues in the digital age, and what lies ahead in the fight for the LGBTQ rights? Through Manvendra's powerful story, there is much to be learned about the major shift in our culture, law, and politics from that earthquake in 2006. Manvendra, first of all, I wanted to welcome you to this interview and to the forum. Thank you so much for agreeing to be a part of this. And we are really delighted to have you with us.
Thanks a lot for getting me over here. Yeah.
So we'll just start with the first question. So you've spoken at various venues about the events in your life and how they have led to your work today. A compelling narrative like yours obviously has a great impact on changing people's mindset about the LGBTQ rights. What do you think about the power of storytelling in reaching people with respect to the work you have done on LGBTQ rights?
Yeah. So see, what happens is when you tell your own story, your personal experiences, then the audience relates that to more because it has happened. These experiences are not just fictional. They are facts. They have happened in one's lives, and the struggles, the emotions, the challenges, the hurdles the one individual faces, just for being truthful to oneself and to another person is so difficult. So I have observed that whenever I have told my story or I have shared somebody else's story or somebody else's shared his or her story or their story in the audience, that definitely impacts the minds of the people, and they try to understand that why an individual needs to undergo. Uh, Sorry, it got
No, it's all
disrupted.
right.
Just because somebody had to speak the truth and tell about one's orientation. So definitely a story will impact the mind of an audience.
Do you think greater representation of LGBTQ figures in public spheres can help move towards a greater normalization or acceptance of the LGBTQ community in a society? Or like, and just to add to that, can positive fictional portrayal, like in cinema, play an important role in it?
Yeah, see, people get influenced by those who are their role models, who are known figures in the society. They carry a lot of weightage on changing the mindset of the society. So definitely, celebrities, especially Bollywood celebrities, if they are famous people, social figures, page three figures as we call it. Those who carry a lot of weight. Those kind of people, if they either come out and talk their own stories to the public, then also it will impact, even if they are not LGBT and if they are allies, if they are supporting the community. And if those celebrities are making statements in the media in favor of us, then also there is going to be a positive impact and positive change. Bollywood definitely has. We have seen that it has a huge impact on the audience, because a lot of us are Bollywood fans, Bollywood lovers. We got, each of us has got some fan following or some idol worship of some Bollywood celebrity, or Indian cinema has been popular just not in India but all over the world. So if some famous Bollywood personality makes a statement, or even makes a film which is positive and gives that a different kind of depiction of a gay character, like I've seen in the past, Bollywood has made fun of us. I've seen older films where we have been treated like jokers or comedians and ridiculed, and that typical effeminate behavior has been shown on screen, and that creates a lot of misunderstanding when the audience sees that. But we are humans, we are also like any other human being, so if you are, instead of showing some effeminate behavior and all that, is going to confuse the audience. So you have to break those stereotypes and show us as human beings, show us as any other person who is enjoying one's life, and being speaking truth and being oneself. That depiction, if it is shown, and there have been films like these made, like the earlier films have, there has been a film called My Brother Nikhil, which was made by Honor. Then recently there has been a beautiful film which was made by my friend Sridhar Rangayan, called Evening Shadows, which shows about the life of a gay person, and how, I mean, I have experienced this. I have shown these films in schools, colleges, universities, wherever I want to give lectures, and I have seen the change in the behavior of the audience. I mean, I'll give you a small example. Recently, I showed this Evening Shadows in a law university in Gandhinagar in Gujarat, and there was one professor who was sitting in the audience. He raised his hand after the film show was over, and he said, "Sir, I want to make a statement." He said, "After watching this film, my eyes have opened towards the struggles the LGBT community faces. And tomorrow, when my child grows up and tells me, 'Dad, I'm gay,' I would be a better dad, a better father, to understand that child's dilemma and the child's confusion." So you see, one person in the audience, even if it makes a difference, then our work is done. So that's how we are able to make change happen in the society.
And the point that you have made is absolutely correct. I'll share a personal anecdote that I personally witnessed. Like I saw Aligarh with my family, and we had a very interesting conversation following Aligarh, because the struggles and the entire discourse around the LGBTQ community, and cinema acts as such a powerful medium to reach out to people and tell real stories. So rather than making the entire community a caricature, it'd be better if real stories are told, because these are real rights, as you just mentioned. Like, these are not like just caricatures out there, like, or clowns. Like, these are real people with real stories to share. So yeah, I completely agree with whatever you just said. Okay, so last year was the 25th anniversary of the Humsafar Trust, and this year marks the 30th anniversary of Bombay Dost magazine. Reflecting on these important milestones, can you talk about your early experience with the magazine and how that has shaped your work today at the Lakshya Trust?
Yeah, definitely. Both Bombay Dost and Humsafar Trust have played a very important role, part in my sexual identity development and in my per se. So Bombay Dost, as we know, was the first gay magazine published in 19 early 1990s, late 1980s, and Ashok Rao, who happens to be the first gay activist and the person who came out of the closet. He's one of the first person to come out of the closet as gay in India. So he got in touch because I got to know about Bombay Dost, and I was that was the time when I was, trying to explore my sexuality. It was like, in the mid 90s, and I happened to meet him, and it was him who gave me the identity, made me comfortable with my sexuality, and exposed me to this gay world. And so I owe a lot to him. And through Bombay Ghost, I started a network. I started contacting people. There used to be a pen pal section in that. I mean, I don't know if they still have that, where you could contact like-minded people in anywhere in India, wherever people subscribe to it. And I started contacting people in Gujarat, and that pen pal magazine network helped me to establish my own foundation, Lakshya Trust, because I had developed so many contacts by then. Humsafar Trust was established in 1995 when I was with Ashok. So Ashok has given me the training as a for LGBTQs through Humsafar Trust. He also gave me the knowledge and information why it is important to work for the LGBT, especially the gay MSM community, men having sex with men, and transgender community for HIV and AIDS, which had begun then. And Humsafar was the first organization in India to have received a partnership with the government. So that experience helped me to start Lakshya. And initially, Humsafar was the kind of a parent NGO and helped us in the technical issue. And then later on, we managed to independently establish the trust, and we were the first ones to start in Gujarat. And Humsafar and Ashok Rao Kavi also helped me to partner with the government of Gujarat. And we were the first organization working for the MSM and TG, which partnered with the government. And it's been 20 years since Lakshya is there. And since last 20 years, government is funding and supporting us, still in the same capacity.
That's very good to hear about the work that has happened in the time span since these organizations were started. Evidently, a lot of exposure to LGBTQ issues has come a very long way since the forums, like you just mentioned. Also, with the rise of the social media, what do you think about the spread of social media in reaching the members of the LGBTQ community? And can it be used to spread awareness of mental and sexual health issues?
Yeah, definitely. Social media is a very good platform for connecting to people worldwide. You're not just restricting yourself to a geographical area within your country. It is reaches out to the entire world, and in a very fast manner, and without cost. You're not spending. You're just spending on your data, internet, or whatever is there. You don't have to spend additional resources for that. So it's a very good way, a very good platform to reach out to a number of people to spread the message. Awareness can be done. I think it's thanks to the social media that today, whatever we are seeing, the changes which are happening in today's world is all thanks to the social media, whether it is Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or any such thing. And it's been my personal experience also that with the help of social media, and of course I belong to the older generation. So for me to even adapt to social media was a challenge, but I have kind of managed to learn the tricks of how to operate Twitter and Facebook, Instagram, lot of social media things. And we have to learn. We have to change with times. So and even not just me, even like the older people like Ashok Rao Kavi and many other senior activists are also are using social media and trying to do make their connections through this platform. So I think definitely in the long run, this platform can be used for many things, for many changes to happen. And for example, you and me also connected on social media. So
Yeah.
gone are the days. Yeah, gone are the days when we have to write letters, and those letters, God knows when they would reach. They would take 1 week, sometimes more than that, with postal service and telephone calls. And now we just pick up the phone, or we just start our Instagram, and you have already reached. You've communicated. Communication has become real fast. and that's important. I mean, the faster you are able to communicate, the faster your word can get spread, and you can create awareness.
Sure. Many LGBTQ individuals and couples traveling abroad, especially to countries with anti-LGBTQ legislatures, may find themselves concealing their sexual orientation for ease of movement. With the rise of pink tourism in the recent years, could you tell us about the intersection of LGBTQ community and tourism industry and its impact in Indian economy and culture? Also, could you tell us about your work in developing LGBTQ friendly avenues of tourism, including in Rajpipla in India?
Yeah. See, I have been talking about I call it the pink tourism. I don't
Yes.
say LGBT tourism. I say the pink. I have been involved with pink tourism as early as 2009. In fact, the first national pink tourism conference was hosted by me in Udaipur, which is itself a city of a well-known tourist destination of India. And one of my friends, he's a German, and he was gay, and he was a hotelier. He had a hotel in Udaipur, and we hosted that tourism conference in his hotel. We got members of the representations from the communities all over India, even trans persons, gays, bisexuals. A lot of individuals participated. Even foreigners came, and we had a very successful conference. And that led me to this idea that why not try and promote the tourism, because I mean, I am myself owner of a heritage hotel property in Rajpipla. Our palace is one of the first palaces of Gujarat to have been converted into a hotel. So since then, I have been quite taking initiatives in not just tourism but even heritage conservation and how to get tourists to India. So and then after that, last year I got the opportunity of being one of the keynote speakers for the World Tourism Conference, which was held in New York. So I was invited there, and I spoke at that forum. Now, 2009 to 2019, 10 years, I saw a significant change, and especially now that the law was amended in 2018 by Supreme Court, and people are aware of it. So now I was the focus of attention. There were so many speakers were invited, but they were all interested to know what's happening in India, how free are they, how is the environment there, how when we come there, whether we'll be able to have a kind of friendly environment, which are the hotels which can offer us safe space, and so on and so forth. And one thing I told all tourists, all the people in the conference, I said, look, as far as I know, India has always been safe. Because I have traveled across the globe, and as far as the LGBT community is concerned, we comparatively we have had less violence, less cases of hate crimes, less homophobia seen in public than other countries. So India has been that way safe. Now with the amendment in the law, and also very recently the World Bank had done a study, and in that it had said that the economic development of India will depend on how much India is able to recognize the human rights of its citizens. And that's the message which I have been doing with the government. I was invited by United Nations a couple of years ago, and I was told to, I was honored by them, and I met a very senior UN official, and he told me that, look, you are doing a good job in India for the LGBT movement, but you need to speak the government's language. You need to tell the government how they will benefit if they give you the rights. And that's precisely what I've been trying to tell the government. I said, look, India is not a country which is economically well off. We are also having millions of rupees debts. We need to improve our economic situation. And one way we can improve is opening the doors for LGBT, for pink tourism. And like how Nepal did a couple of years ago when they opened, they had they were inviting gay couples to come and get married, and the government was giving them marriage certificates. And so many people took advantage. And Nepal is also a poor country. If Nepal can benefit and become economically well off, then why not India? I mean, India has so much more to offer than Nepal. So I mean, even without the government tourism development, I'm like a hive where I attract so many honey bees. So people I've become a tourist destination myself. So many foreigners come just to meet me, and imagine so much of revenue government is earning, without even declaring any pink tourism policy. So my talks with the government is on, and I'm sure government is going to liberalize a lot of course now because of the COVID situation, a lot of things have changed. But whenever things get normalized, I'm sure government is sensible and wise, and will definitely it will listen to our voice, because we are also there has been a survey and it has shown that we also have a very the gay community all over the world has got a high purchasing power. We like to spend money, and we don't have that many liabilities, like compared to heterosexuals. We don't have families, we don't have wives, we don't have children, we don't have to spend on their admissions and this and that, and we don't have. If some of them are not even in connection with our parents, because we have been thrown out from homes, so we don't even are liable to look after parents also. So whom do we spend the money on? So there are so many couples and lesbian couples all over the world who are just waiting that once India gives us a favorable environment, they are willing to come to India, they are willing to spend money, and all that money is going to get into the government kitty and improve the government's revenue situations through the foreign exchange. So that's how we can help.
I think that's a very interesting way to look at it. Now, just on a very connected note, pure A positive, a community campus Rajapala, a recent initiative of Lakshya Trust, provides a resource and skill training community center for the LGBTQ community. Having talked about your own family experience when you first came out, how important is it to build a sense of collectivity for individual in the LGBTQ community, particularly when the family environment is not supportive?
Yeah, see, now it has become even more important to have community centers and campuses, the ones like which I have been developing with the help of Lakshya Trust, because see, after Section 377 got amended, now a lot of us have got that confidence, and a lot of us are wanting to come out of the closet, because we are no longer being seen as criminals in the eyes of law. So a lot of us want to tell our parents that, hey, mom or dad, I don't want to get married, I don't want to spoil the life of a girl. And most of the parents we know don't understand this situation, and they force them to get married to a girl or to a boy if you're lesbian, in spite of knowing that you're gay or lesbian. And that forces us to leave homes, and we are homeless, we are going to depression, we don't know where to go, and so a lot of us are even contemplating suicides. A lot of things are happening. So these kind of support systems are very important to build in these times, because they will give us the kind of a security, that social security, a financial security, that yes, there is a place to go if in the eventuality of us being disowned or disinherited. Because why this idea came into me was from my own story. When you gave my introduction, you mentioned that when I came out, my parents disowned me, disinherited me. A lot of things happened with me. I had the strength and power and courage to, not to bow down to the homophobic pressures, and I still managed to survive and live in spite of all the hurdles and obstacles I faced. But everybody is not like me, Lot of people will succumb to these pressures, and either they will fall prey to the marriage pressures of the parents, or they will commit suicide. So we need to protect these individuals and these communities, and with that in mind, I decided to have this start this community campus, this home which I am developing in one of my royal establishments, where I am trying to. The aim is social empowerment and financial empowerment. I wish to train the community into some skills so that they could go back and earn their own livelihood in their own whatever talents they have, and live a confident life. And this center is also going to train us how to deal with the homophobic world, because see, homophobia is not going to go. It's going to remain. It may vary from place to place, but we need to know how to face the homophobic world and how to live with dignity and respect without being subject to stigma and discrimination. That's important, which the Constitution has also guaranteed us through the fundamental rights. And fortunately, now Section 377 is also guaranteeing us these rights. But it's the social issues which need to be addressed, and for that, this center is going to train them to face this the social issues which we are facing.
All right. On a connected note, you have mentioned inclusion over exclusion as an important guiding principle in your work. Talking about the then unpassed trans rights bill, you said, and I quote, "I don't blame any political party. It's not the party, but the individual who are either homophobic or grey-friendly." With the increasing exclusionary trend in our political, cultural, and legal setup, how can LGBTQ community engage with policymakers to address the issues for which they are fighting?
Yeah, see, one thing good which has happened in India is that the government has also realized that they need to take the communities into, to make their policies, to decide the issues. And one very good thing which recently has just come about is that the government has announced a national council for transgenders, because transgender rights were given first by the NALSA judgment in 2014 by the Supreme Court, and then the transgender bill was passed in the parliament a couple of years ago, where transgender rights have been given. Now, what happens in India is that when bills get passed or when acts are made, the dissemination of that is very slow. The practical implementation of that act or law is a very challenging process, because though we have so many states in India, but not necessary that each state has its own, the same political party as a ruling party. So there's always been a political clash between the ruling party and the opposition. So this National Council for Transgenders has representations from very senior transgender activists all over India, including trans men, trans women, and the Hijra population. Like we have Lakshmi Narayan Tripathi as one of the committee members in that. So this council is going to see how the rights or the law which has been made by India reaches out to each and every individual of the community in India. So that's one thing. Second good thing which happened in India just recently again is that NACO, that is National AIDS Control Organization, which is one of the highest authorities in India on working on HIV and AIDS, declared that they are now going to form a core committee where they are again going to take members of the communities, the LGBT communities who are involved with HIV work, because they felt that the community representations will be in the best position to decide the policies on HIV issues with the health department. So I'm very fortunate to tell you that one of our co-founders of the Lakshya Trust, Sylvester Merchant, he has been appointed on the board of the NACO, the committee, along with other senior activists, and that's for the men having sex with men. Very soon they're going to have a transgender body also. So see, these are the initiatives, and this doesn't come up. This kind of decision with the government has not come up in one day. We have done several advocacies with governments, and that's why when I say I don't believe in one. I don't support one party, I support the individual who supports us. And we need to work with each and every political person, try to make them understand why our rights are important, why we need to live with dignity and respect, why we need not to be discriminated. So it's taken us years to talk to several parties, and as I told you in the beginning, even if we get one ally, one person from any party who understands us and supports us, our work is done. Then that person will try and educate the other persons in the party or other individuals who are still having some hitch or some reluctance. So that way we go about doing our advocacy program, which is going to be a continuous effort. It's not going to finish. Each time new member comes of a party, we need to educate. So it has to be a continuous effort. But we definitely need to continue education, awareness. Then and then only we can expect changes to come in the society.
The Pride Parade, obviously emblematic of the kind of collective solidarity built by the LGBT community, is likely to be celebrated online this year in India. Having marched in Pride parades all around the world, what has Pride meant to you? That is number one. And on a connected note, can the universal sense of belonging provided by this queer Pride Parade movement has an equally powerful effect as local initiatives?
See, pride, according to me, is the meaning of pride itself is that you're proud. You're kind of proud to be yourself. Which is very important. You need to be yourself. You cannot be a hypocrite. Hypocrisy is not going to survive for long. You need to be true to yourself and true to others. That's the best way to live, whether you're straight, you're gay, or bi, whatever you are. So that's pride for me. Pride means also freedom to express yourself, to demonstrate yourself, to tell the world that yes, we exist and we need to be treated with respect and dignity. That's the true meaning, according to me, for pride. Now, yes, you're right. I have been to several prides all over the world: America, Brazil, Europe, Australia. I don't even remember Mauritius. So many countries. I think I've kind of covered almost all the prides all over the world. But let me tell you one thing, which a lot of people are shocked when I tell them this. I have never seen, from the safety point of view, India has been the safest country with regards to pride is concerned. I have never seen a single incident of violence, backlash, or hate crime, or any protest happening in a single pride of India. I have done in India. I have participated in many major cities of India: Chennai, Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi, Gujarat, and Nagpur. So many, Pune, so many places. Once I just remember I was in Delhi in 2009, I think, and when the Delhi High Court judgment had given the judgment in our favor, there was one political party which threatened that they will not allow the Delhi Pride to happen. So we said, okay, fine, let's see. We got all police permissions and all. We'll see what happens. Believe me, that guy didn't even turn up. That guy who wanted to protest, he never turned up. More than that, after the Pride got over, I was invited by the television, I think it was NDTV or somebody, to talk about the Pride and all. And that political person was invited on the television to talk about why he wanted to protest. He never even answered the call. He never came. So on the contrary, I have seen Pride in India so well organized. Police has been at the best in cooperating. Mumbai Pride is the largest in India. You will find 15,000 of us on the road. Last year, of course, it hasn't happened for 2 years now. But I have never seen such cooperative police. Police holding rainbow flags and marching with us. What more than that can you expect to happen? It's one of the best prides I've seen. And if I will tell you, contrary to what I have experienced in the world, let me give you examples. I was in Los Angeles Pride. There was a bomb planted There was literally a bomb found on the road. I had to be given extra security. I was told by the organizers that, Your Highness, if you don't wish to participate in the pride, please do not, because we will not be able to protect you. This was in Los Angeles 4 years ago, the same year when the Orlando killing happened in Florida. There was the terrorist was caught with a bomb when he planted in the LA Pride. That is Los Angeles. San Francisco Pride, when I participated, there were protesters. There were these Christian church missionaries. They were shouting slogans, and they were ridiculing the people who are marching, there was a lot of bullying happening. That was San Francisco. Sweden is supposed to be the first country in the world to have liberalized LGBT rights, and I was there to inaugurate the Sweden Pride in Stockholm. Just one night before, there was violence, there was hate crimes, there was protests, so much so that they were almost going to cancel the Pride, and that was in Stockholm. Mauritius was one of the worst experiences I had. I was almost assassinated.
Wow.
I was almost assassinated. I mean, can you imagine that? I was in the open jeep, and the police had to be called. There were people who was all they were, I was in the most assassinable position, going in an open car, open jeep, and I was almost close to being assassinated. So you see the violence, which I can give you so many examples of violence in which I have myself experienced in foreign countries. But India is this. India has seen any kind of violence. On the contrary, Nagpur Pride, I have 2 occasions. Both the times, the BJP MLA has flagged off the Nagpur Pride.
Oh.
Now tell me, where is the protest? The BJP MLA himself came and he's flagged off the Nagpur Pride 2 occasions. I met him 2 times, and two occasions he has flagged off the Pride. So see, India, we say there is homophobia, but compared to the rest of the world, we are much safer than the countries, because I think we have something in us which tells us that yes, humanity does exist.
Okay. Okay, so to conclude this interview, I'll just ask you one last question. That is, how you envision the future of LGBTQ rights in India, both in our legal system and our societal framework. Following the decriminalization of homosexuality with the 2018 Supreme Court decision, what challenges lies ahead for the LGBTQ community? And how can these legal reforms be implemented in the society wherein they are equally accepted and the societal attitudes also start changing? What thought do you have about all this?
See, we have a big challenge ahead. I mean, of course, we are very fortunate that we have got a strong legal foundation with us, which has given us all those rights which the Constitution has given, has now been have been confirmed by the amendment of Section 377. So that's a very, very good thing which has happened in India, which I would not have imagined it would have happened in my lifetime. So that's one thing good. Now the bigger challenge is the how to get about the social acceptance, the social liberation and all that. The legal recognition is strong, but the social recognition is the challenge. And that's what I'm doing. A lot of other activists are doing is, and that's again I'm coming to the same point: education awareness. Now, why I see a very bright future in India is that because the young generation, the youth of India, are very much interested in our issues, very much interested to know more about us, and the number of invitations I get to be invited to school, not just colleges and universities, even schools are inviting me these days to come and talk to the students. I'm getting interviewed by young children, like 14-year-old girl, 15-year-old boys. They are the ones, they are taking interest in these issues, and and with parents of kids at the palace, and the parents know that their children are involved in our issues. So that is something which I'm really excited about, and because we all know that the youth in India is the largest in the world. The youth population of India is the largest in the world. The youth is the future of our country. The youth is the future of any society, of any culture. And if they are informed, they are well educated and made aware about our issues, they will be much better aware citizens of our country. One of these students could be the future president, prime minister, lawyer, chief justice of Supreme Court, anything. So if they are more aware of our issues, then definitely I see a very bright future in India, and I take these opportunities to go to any institutions. I have done 13 TED talks till now in India, and each and every TED talk is only and only on LGBT issues. Even schools are calling me for TED talks on LGBT issues. So you see that the change is happening. The student initiative, it is a youth-driven initiative which is going to lead us to a positive change, not just on LGBT issues, but on many issues. I would say, like, if the youth is interested, we can definitely make this society, this world, a happier place to live.
On that note, we'll end today's interview, and that's a very strong point. I think if the number of allies increase for the LGBT community, it needs to go beyond the community. I think the support needs to come not just within the community, but also outside the community. And if the number of allies keep increasing, there won't be anything. And there are so many things that we honestly, as you just mentioned, that you did not expect this to happen in your lifetime. But I think there are so many other achievements that we have to make for the community, and they will surely happen if the number of allies keep increasing. So thank you so very much for doing this interview. I'm so very honored to do this interview with you and hearing your points. And there are so many interesting things that I got to learn from you today, got to know, and there are so many new things. And thank you so very much for agreeing to do this.
Thank you.
Okay.